Welcome back, everybody. As the current format is progressing and evolving, I also have cooked a new, very spicy and fun list. And although the Mimighuls are in the center right now, this deck is not about the Mimighul cards. You can cut them entirely. I just like to play the engine. So the idea first started off as kind of a meme, but then it showed the true potential of the deck. I played in 2 different tournaments. The first one was a local tournament, which I have won with a score of 4-0. And the second one was a 40-man player tournament, which I ended up getting 4th place with a score of 5-1. This deck really outperformed my expectations. And I guess I just gonna start with the Mimighul engine. Like I said, you can cut it, but there is a reason why I do play it. For the monsters, we are playing the 3 dragon, 2 archfiend, 1 slime, 1 fairy, and I also added in the armor for going second, because the slime and the armor you can just special summon when the opponent has either a monster or more monsters than you, so you can have a level 1 monster to go into your link one for the yummy cards without using your normal summon. So I really like the inclusion of those two. I did cut the Mimighul Master because I do not have the exodeck space for the throne, and I believe it is not necessary for this deck. Continuing with the spells, there are 3 makers because we want to have the option to extend without using a normal summon. Then we have the 3 dungeon just as a starter, and you want to see it in your hand. You want to end your turn with the dungeon on the field. And then only the 1 room. I would like to play 2 of them, but there is just not enough space in the deck right now, and we do have enough other engine cards to make up for this. Then we have the yummy cards, the 3 Cupsy, 2 Cookie and 1 Lolly. I still like the 3-to-1 ratio. I believe you do not need more than these because the Mimighuls can bridge into the yummy engine very effectively. If I decide to cut the Mimighul engine, I would bump these up to 3-3-2 or even 3 of everybody. But for now, this is my ratio, and it worked out pretty well. And then we got the 2 surprise and the 1 minion. The minion is mainly for extending with the resummon from the graveyard, also pushing for OTKs with the attack boost. And also the graveyard effect is very important, so you can recycle your yummy monsters and continue playing on the following turns. So these are the first 2 engines in the deck. And then we have the third, let's say non-engine / engine that allows us to break boards, but also is a very good going first engine. And here we have the 3 thrust and the 1 talents, just because your Mimighuls can make them live on turn 1. And then we have the Draco Tail. We have 3 Lucias in the deck. This is a very good normal summon because you can add 5 mana, fuse with a monster in hand and the Lucias for a fusion summon, and this does not lock you into fusions. And so we are also playing the triple 5 mana. Then the 1-offs, only 1 Molulu, 1 Urgula and 1 Pan. We have only 1 Molulu in the deck because we do not want to use this on our field to fuse because this locks us, but still the negation effect when it gets fused is really strong. And these are all the Dragentail monsters. Then for the spells we have 3 of each. The Keto is just the Rhoda for the deck. Usually I just add the 5 mana or the Lucias. And the Rahu is the branded fusion of the deck, but this does lock you into fusions, so you really want to do this just as the last step of the combo. And then finally, we have one of each trap. And I gotta say, you do not need any non-engine whatsoever. With the Dragon Tails, you can just break boards very effectively. The thrust is sort of a bridge. If you can use your Mimighouls, you can add the Kitu or the Rahu. But otherwise, there are no bridges into the Dragon Tails, but still you can use the Dragon Tail to bridge into your other engines. And I will show you how this works. Going into the extra deck, we have one SP Little Knight. This is just to clear up some bodies. And if you play against Yami, you want to banish the field spell if possible. And sometimes you just have way too many bodies and some used up Xyz monsters or fusions that you don't need. And so you can put them to good use. Then we have the one Anima as sort of a bridge between the Mimighouls and the Yami engine. One Gravity Binder. This one is really important because you can use your Xyz monsters in the EMZ to summon the Link 1 and go into the Yami engine. Also, you can use a fusion monster like Arthalion for the Gravity Binder and then go into a Link 1 this way. And this is also a really good way for the combo I will show you later. We have one Artemis, just as a Link 1 that you can summon off of the Lucias. For the Yummies, we have two Snatchies, one of each Synchro, and one Herald. So in this deck, the Herald conflicts a little bit because you cannot summon the Herald and later use the Rahu Dragentail, because the Herald would banish everything that you send from deck or hand. And you cannot use the Rahu first, because then you are fusion locked and you cannot summon the Arclight after. So most of the time the Arclight is just here to summon in the opponent's turn, or if you do not have access to the Dragentail engine, you can just summon the Arclight just as usual. Then for the Xyz, we have one Giant Mimighoul and one Ripplebird. This is enough. We have the Giant to bridge from the Yummies into the Mimighoul engine. And then the Ripplebird is just a crazy card. It is not once per turn, and you can detach one monster to change the battle position of a monster on the field. So you can flip up the Mimighouls, you give it to your opponent. And then for the Dracotails, we have just two Arthalion and one Gulamel. This is enough. You can use just the first Arthalion in your own turn and recycle some monsters from the graveyard. Then with the second summon, you can just summon the Gulamel. And then on the opponent's turn, you can summon the second Arthalion. You can use the Dracotail trap cards and recycle the Arthalion that is in the graveyard or banished and put it back into the extra deck, so you are not running out of fusions. And then you can use the second or third Arthalion that you summon and recycle the other one, and so your resource loop just continues. This is the only change I have made so far. I added in 3 Fuvalos. I did not own these cards previously. Instead, I just played 3 random Kaijus that I sided in against some of the matchups. Then we have 3 Dark Ruler, 3 Eclipse, double Lightning Storm, 1 Feather Duster, and triple Evenly. And the idea of this deck was that we play exactly 15 Mimighoul cards that we can just side out for 15 Board Breakers or going second cards. And as I played the deck and tested the deck, I came to the conclusion that I want to leave in the armor and the slime, and for them I just side out the Dracotail traps for going second, and so I still have the extension to special summon them from the hand going second, and also if it is game 3 and we're going second and we manage to break the opponent's board, we can use the giant to add ourselves a Mimighoul, give it to the opponent and then burn them. It is not the best way to end a duel, and it didn't really come up in those matches, but yeah, it's just an option to have. So this is the general game plan, and the idea, like I said, was just a meme because Konami just butchered the German names of the Draco Tales. So the official name that I give this deck is Lecker Drachoschwanz, featuring Mimighoul as just a third engine. But like I said, this deck is not about the Mimighoul cards. It is just a third engine that I do like to play in this deck. But you can cut those 15 slots, and right now this is a 45 card main deck. If you cut the 15 Mimighoul cards, you get down to 30, adding in a few more yummy cards and a bit of non-engine, and you can play a clean 40. Now trying to pick a test hand, shuffling up the deck. Maybe I will just fast forward or cut at this point just to save some time. But like I said, the deck really performed extremely well and I had a lot of fun playing this deck. There's Archfiend, the Horn, Dungeon, Lucius and Rahu. And here we can access every of these engines. And we can start by normal summoning the Lucius, activating its effect to add ourselves the 5 mana. If it would get negated, we can just link it off into the Artemis. Now with the 5 mana, we can discard this and fusion summon with the Lucius on board for an Arthalion in the EMZ. Now we have trigger effects. We are activating Arthalion as Chainlink 1, and we do need to give our opponent a Mimighoul to extend further. So we are adding ourselves the Archfiend back with the Arthalion as Chainlink 1, and the Lucius as Chainlink 2 can set ourselves the Draco Tail. Nope. Key 2. Because we already have the Rahu in hand, we are adding ourselves the Archfiend to the hand, activating the Dungeon. Dungeon is adding armor. And now we can summon the Archfiend to our opponent's side of the field. Because our opponent is now controlling a monster, we can activate the effect to summon the armor to our own field. And now we can link off the Arthalion into the Gravity Binder. And what happens here is we synchro summon for the Kapsi Yami Way. And because 2 monsters went to the graveyard at the same time, we can chain block and use the Kapsi as Chainlink 1 to add ourselves to Yami monsters. And as Chainlink 2 we can resummon the Arthalion to our side of the field. This way our opponent cannot Ash or Purge the Kapsi. And we get ourselves Cookie to the hand as well as Kapsi. And then we have to discard 1 card from our hand. And I believe that we are able to just discard the Rahu because we still have the key to set. And before I want to extend any further, I would like to activate the key to, which adds ourselves the Urgula to hand. And because our opponent controls a monster, we can fusion summon using the Arthalion and the Urgula to summon the Gulamel. And now the Urgula triggers, giving us giving us the Dracotail Flame. We do not have to extend further with the Dracotail engine because we already summoned both fusion monsters, and we also have the other trap card in hand. And now we can just link off the Cupsy into the Snatchy, activating the effect of Snatchy, which activates the Yummy Field spell. Then we can summon the Cupsy effect. That's the surprise. Then we also can summon the Cookie from the hand, linking the Cupsy into a second Snatchy. Using those two to summon Lollipo. Lollipo effect revives the Cookie and the Cupsy. And now we could summon the Herald here, but we are not quite done. What we can do is we can overlay these two into a Ripplebird, activating the effect, detaching one material to flip up the Archfiend, which then triggers. This means we are getting to draw a card. Our opponent has to send a card from their hand to the graveyard, and then it switches sides. Then we have still the minion to use and resummon the Cookie. Now we can overlay these two into the Giant. Giant effect can add ourselves a Mimighoul card from the deck. And here we have two options. We can either add ourselves the Slime, which lets us then flip this one up with the Ripplebird, so we can summon the Dragon from the deck. And Dragon can add us the Mimighoul trap, or we can add the Mimighoul trap directly from the deck. Yeah, I think I have a play with the Mimighoul. With the Giant, we're adding the Slime effect to summon it to the opponent's field. Now, to clean up the board, we are using the Giant's effect to pop itself and burn our opponent for 1000 damage. Activate the effect of Ripplebird, switching the Slime to attack, which lets us summon the Dragon. Dragon effect on summon adds the Mimighoul Room to the hand. Somehow I messed up the zones. So let me just fix this real quick. If we would have summoned the Ripplebird right here, we could use those two to summon an SP. And then we still could use those three to summon Herald. And then because two or more monsters went into the graveyard, we can summon the Gulamel back to our field. And so we still have the quick effect destroy from the Gulamel right from the start. We even have the Herald on the board because we didn't get fusion locked in while doing our combo. We have an SP as protection and interruption. We also have the surprise that can summon back our Cupsy, so we can do some quick synchros. And before ending our turn, we still can use the Urgula that let us add the 5 mana back to our hand while putting itself back under the deck. And so this is our final hand and final field. We have the surprise. The Dracotail Horn we only have because we hard drew it, so if we didn't draw this one, it would just be one of the traps in this case. But this looks just like the ideal end board that we can make. And we have enough interruptions. Also, we can give our opponent a monster face down to their field, so they cannot use, for example, Obedience School, or this also locks them out of the Sky Striker cards. And with the Flame, we are protected against Droplet. With the Horn, we can bounce back attack position monsters. With the Herald, we have an Omni Negate, we have the Quick Effect Pop, we can draw cards while we are interrupting our opponent. We can use Define Mana to fusion summon using the Gulamel and the Capsi in hand. If we get to summon the Capsi from the graveyard, or if we get to recycle this one, we can add even more monsters to our hand to get more bounces with the Gulamel. So this really is an ideal example what the deck can do going first, if it goes uninterrupted, but still also going second with all of those Draco Tail cards and post side with all of the board breakers. The deck feels really cohesive, even though it does not have one card bridges into Dragon Tail. And if you liked the video, I would be really happy if you leave a like. Also, if you're interested in future content, consider subscribing. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Until the next time, bye bye.